And so I was sort of like avoiding stepping into that role by just always constantly putting out fires and saying I can't do that. Whereas if I had just like stepped into it, I mean, one of the things you told me was, Julie, you need to raise your prices. And I just didn't believe you. Like, I just absolutely didn't believe you. I didn't believe you, which is ridiculous. But because I didn't believe in myself enough. Yeah. So I didn't think that people would pay it. So of course that's where I stayed. And by the time I sort of like started figuring all of this stuff out and stepping into it, I was really, really burned out, and I was really bitter, and I was ready to move on. And I mean, part of it too was, I'm getting older, and I just found it a little bit too physically demanding to keep up with. But yeah, I had burned myself out because I didn't do what I should have done.
Right. Totally. And there's no, like, I think everything happens for a reason, right? Like, so there's no kind of shame attached to this or like finger wagging, like you should have done this thing. This is a great, like, your gift in this is that other people can learn from you. Right?
Well, and that's like, a few times I found it difficult, like, the process of letting go was very difficult. But once I got through that, coming back to reality, going to meetings that I had been in before, not as me being the business owner, things like that were difficult, but I just did it. I just went in and did it, and I got over it quickly. And I don't feel that anymore. I know it got me through a huge part of my life. It got me through, I was able to drop my kids off from school, pick my kids up from school, spend time with them, go on field trips, like help them with their homework, all of those things. So I'm proud of where it got me. I was able to purchase a townhouse and a vehicle and like all that kind of stuff. So I'm not looking at it like a failure in my life. I got a lot of things out of it, and oh, wow, did I ever learn a lot from it. And I really like where I am now, and I really like working for you, and it's given me a wealth of knowledge and experience, especially for this position, and being able to really do a good job taking care of your clients and just knowing both sides of it. It's very helpful. We've had lots of conversations in understanding clients and employees and all that back and forth from both sides.
Yeah, because it's not a straightforward black and white thing, right? Like,
no, not at all.
And, and also, like thinking of, I don't know, thinking about you, out there cleaning somebody's house, like you're like in the bathroom scrubbing a toilet, and I'm sending you a text saying, hey, Julie, I still need your bank statement. Like,
oh yeah, that happened all the time. Phone calls and like, and I'm in the middle of cleaning, and I'm like cleaning with one hand and trying to answer the phone with the other. And
right.
And you know what? I know I'm not alone in that. I mean, no. I think you talked to somebody the other day. You're having their meeting with them and they're up on a ladder.
Oh, totally. I did. I had a client who was out at a job site, and he was trying to do our monthly meeting from the job site. And then like the city started jackhammering right beside him.
Yeah, like, Julie, why can't I hear you? Oh, I'm rinsing the shower, right? Like,
right. Yeah, so good. So just know, like, there's so much value in your process and your transformation into, what you're doing now and how you're assisting my clients for sure, and providing this great information to any of our listeners out there. Like, this goes out all over the place. So people are going to resonate with what you're saying, and they're hopefully going to not, I think I called it, don't be a Julie, or don't do a Julie or something like that. Right?
Oh, seriously, like, really don't.
Right?
Don't.
So one of the things I thought was super interesting that you said in a conversation was around like people seeing a bank statement. Because a lot of bookkeepers struggling getting statements, credit card statements, bank statements, that kind of stuff from clients.
Totally.
And I didn't even think of this. Like, this didn't even dawn on me that this was happening. And I thought it was really interesting. So I'm hoping you can share that.
Absolutely. I remember, getting an email or whatever saying, if you just give us the login to your bank, we can just print the statement for you. Then you don't have to worry about trying to do it. You don't have to worry about, every time you go to do something, the printer doesn't work. We'll just do it for you, and then it's done. And then we're way ahead. And I remember getting that email, and I was just immediately like, no, I don't, that's too private. Even though I'm printing it and giving it to you, it just felt like, I just can't share that. I guess there was like some shame around it. Like maybe you're going to see that time where my bank balance is $1.23, right?
Right.
Like as if you don't already know what's going on in my business. Like it's kind of ridiculous. And I remember talking to the girls in the office here recently, and they're like, "Oh, we just need the login." People seem, really, they're afraid to do it. And I'm like, well, I don't know what everybody's deal is, but I know my deal is, like, first of all, you're just scared to give out passwords. And second of all, I felt a lot of shame around my bank statement. I felt like it should be better than it is. And I didn't want you to see my $1.23 balance. And they're like, we don't even know what you're talking about. Like, all we do is sit down and do the numbers. It doesn't even occur to us. We don't notice when people's balances, we don't even see them. And we just want to get the work done. We want to get the work done and get the reports so that their business is running how it needs to be. And if Julie, if you had walked up and said, oh, what's my bank balance? I wouldn't have even been able to tell you. If you had walked up and said, oh, what's my profit and loss statement look like? Wouldn't even have been able to tell you. Like, yeah. I'd have to look it up and,
for bookkeepers, it truly is, it's just numbers. And usually, like 99% of the time, you're working with a bookkeeper who has more than one client. My bookkeepers have anywhere from like 8 clients to, I don't know, 20 or something like that. But and it's just numbers. Like they're not into the value of what's going on, and they're not really paying attention. Like
they're certainly not making judgments.
No, they just, if anything, they're judging themselves because they just want to get the job done, right?
That's exactly that. I can tell you for sure. That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Because the number of times I'm like, why have you not done this work?
Exactly.
Like, I can't get the statement done. So, like if that is a concern of someone's, I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it. But your bookkeeper or whoever you hire to be your bookkeeper probably isn't even paying attention to what the numbers are, and certainly doesn't hang on to them in their head. Now, I'll like kind of preface that or whatever with there are people out there who do awful things, and that's why you want to make sure that you have somebody who you can trust, who has accurate security measures in place, who doesn't take these things lightly, and you have a good relationship with, right? So, there's that. But, as long as you've done your due diligence there, you've, criminal record check, bonded, or, insured, all that kind of thing. As long as you've done your due diligence as the business owner, you should be perfectly fine. And you don't need to worry about the $1.23.
No. And I mean, if I could, I tell you, if I could go back now, I would save myself a lot of heartache. Yeah. A lot of heartache. And I would give you my logins. And I would just, you know what, honestly, I would hand everything over. I was terrible at making payments on time and like keeping track of everything. And you know what? It's not because I'm an idiot and I don't know how to do it, period. It's just because I had way too many other things to deal with. And, as you like to say, it was not my zone of genius.
It absolutely was not. I don't know how to clean a toilet bowl. My whole family will attest to that fact. And, but however, I do know how to create detailed, accurate financial records for a business and do the analysis on them. So yeah, if that's something that you're getting stuck in, just release, just let go, be like, you do it all. The best thing that happens that I see with clients is they're like, can you just do it all? Can can you just pay the bill for me? Can you
Totally.
like,
Yes.
just make sure it gets done.
Yeah.
And
And every once in a while, let me know what's going on.
totally, right? So again, because I talked about what everybody does, accountant, bookkeeper, CFO, you should be getting reports, and you should be looking at the reports, and you should be, understanding the numbers. But it's pretty obvious in your bank that, you've paid CRA, or the IRS $10,000. Like, it shows on your bank statement. It's not like I've paid Jane and then Jane's going to pay CRA. It's like you've paid CRA or you've paid the IRS. So, you at the same time as kind of handing off control of things, as the business owner, you want to make sure that you are, just logging in and checking your accounts and making sure that there's not any kind of fraudulent activity on there, because your bookkeeper is not going to know if fraud, well, sometimes they'll know, but more often than not, they won't know if a transaction is fraudulent. You will, right? You'll know that you didn't sign up for the, I don't know, $6,000 thing from Florida, right? Like, only you'll know that part. And so you still have to play a role. But,
well, and this is the part where, that's not hard to do. I mean, everybody has their bank on their phone and logs in and,
right.
transfers money around or, just checks their balance or whatever. Like, that part's easy. The difficult part is collecting all the information, inputting the data, and spitting out the right report and paying all the bills on time. That's the tough part.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I think in summary, don't do a Julie and make your life harder than it needs to be.
No,
right?
And you know what? If you find yourself, like, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, well, I can't do that, or it brings something up in you, like it makes you feel uncomfortable, then you have some work to do. Like, because that was my issue. My issue wasn't the thing. My issue was, like, what's going on inside of me that's stopping me from stepping into this role? What's going on inside of me that's making me, like, if there's some shame there around the number, that's not the number. That's a problem in you. That's a bigger problem, and that's something that you need to work on. Yeah. And you need to sit with that and think, like, why am I thinking this?
Oh,
do I actually want to do this business? And if I want to do this business, then I want it to be successful. And then I need to believe in myself, and I need to, like, let go of the shame and let go of all this stuff. And I need to figure out what's my role in this business and how am I going to move forward? I mean, I even remember when I was, like, in counseling, getting through my divorce, I remember talking to my therapist, and she was like, we were talking about how I'm just finding work difficult and I'm so busy. And she's like, I know that you're struggling financially right now, but you need some help. You can't do everything in your business. Like, even my therapist was saying that you need some help in your business. You can't do it all yourself. And it doesn't cost very much to get, even if I just got an assistant or something like that. Right. Mm-hmm. And then when it actually came to, like, getting you to actually just take most of my books over and do them, I was surprised at how little it cost. And I tell you, that was one of my most painless bills to pay.
Yeah.
I was, like, just in the habit of it. And it was like, it was so easy for me. I was like, every time I sent the money, I thought, this is worth every penny. And I should have just understood how good that felt and just really let go.
Well, totally. And, it reminds me of something my mentor, David Bear, says, is the problem is not the problem. So whatever you're seeing as the problem is not actually the problem. There's a deeper thing going on there. There's a subconscious story, or there's some kind of underlying issue that is presenting itself, right? Yeah. And so it's so funny because I had a conversation with a gal who's already been on my show, Wendy Anderson, and she was talking about something she was going through in her business. And I was like, okay, but the problem's not the problem. It's presenting itself this way, but there's something else, and let's try to figure out what else it is. And sometimes the problem is your perception that it's a problem.
Yeah.
right? Like your problem kind of presented itself as like, oh, I've got so much shame around this, lack of money in my bank